What's up, everybody? I'm David Hain. Welcome to episode number 311 of the A2D From Addict to Disciple podcast. If you enjoy this podcast, please like, subscribe, follow, and share the link with your friends. If you'd like to get our curriculum, you can get the paperback or ebook of From Ashes to Destiny on Amazon. Today's episode, again, number 311 of the A2D From Addict to Disciple podcast, is entitled Fear of the Unknown. This is going to be a first of a two-part look at this topic, and I'm going to start with a quote by H.P. Lovecraft, an American writer in the early 1900s. And he wrote, "The oldest and strongest emotion of mankind is fear, and the oldest and strongest kind of fear is fear of the unknown." So in these 2 weeks, we're going to look at fear of the unknown in addiction and recovery, because I really see it a lot with the guys that I work with. Guys in active addiction stay in active addiction because they don't know what normal life is anymore. Their reality is always being high and the hustle scene of the addiction. And I hear things like, "I started using because I didn't fit into normal society. I don't know how I would fit in now." And that's a valid thought. Those guys would not view it as fear, but it's really them saying, "I'm afraid of the unknown aspect of even if I could function in normal society again. So I'd rather just keep doing what I'm doing." I also see functioning addicts, guys in what I call functioning addiction, which is where you're maintaining a house, you got a roof over your head, so to speak, and a place to sleep. You're in a relationship or you have a steady job. You're doing all those functioning aspects of life, but you're still using every day or every weekend. These guys say, "I can't imagine life without my little escape, without my self-medication to take the edge off, to deal with the stresses and everything of life." And that's really another way of saying, I've got a fear of that unknown of what would life be like? Can I function without my use? Because it's been too many decades that I've been using. I also see guys in recovery stay forever in their recovery community. They might be in a rehab, a sober living house, might be in a homeless shelter. Maybe they become staff at the rehab because they're not really sure if they could reintegrate into society or into family or not. So again, this is another way of saying, I'm afraid of the unknown, and it's safer here where I am in this community, in this house where I now am. So in each of these examples, the guys tend to avoid transition to the next phase, even though the managers or whoever are pushing them to get into the next phase of transition, transition to community. But in that, they're justifying staying where they're at. And often in this avoiding that next step of transition, they often miss transformation and miss healing and wholeness because of fear of the unknown. So let's look a little bit deeper at the unknown and why do we have a fear of it anyway? Well, there's an old phrase that says the unknown is greater than the known. And I think this is true because if you stop and think about it, the unknown is huge. It's enormous. It's like the vast frontier. It's almost infinite. And so the idea of fear of the unknown from it being huge is really saying, I've got a fear of the uncertainty. I don't know what's out there, and I don't know that I can deal with it. And Joseph Campbell, an American writer, said, "The cave you fear to enter holds the treasure you seek." And I just want to point that out at this point in the podcast to everybody that think about it. The cave you fear to enter, whether it's returning home to your family, returning to a job, returning to your own place to live, returning to the place you grew up, whatever it is, that cave that you fear to enter, that unknown step that you're hesitating, holds the treasure that you seek. I also think the unknown can be scary because it's full of risks with uncertain rewards. And reality is, the unknown is dangerous stuff. There's potential for huge hurt and disappointment as we take that step back into family, back into community. And we don't know that we're going to get the reconciliation we're seeking. We don't know we're going to get a job and a career back. All that, the rewards aspect, are uncertain. And Brian Tracy, a Canadian-American motivational speaker, said, "The comfort zone is the greatest enemy of courage and confidence." So take this as inspiration. If you're lacking the confidence to get back into society, if you're lacking the courage, could you be stuck in your comfort zone and it's really a fear of the unknown because of the risks versus the rewards? The unknown also involves unfamiliar territory. It's totally out of our comfort zone. And I hear guys say, I don't even know if I'm capable of navigating that lifestyle. I've been getting high since I was a teenager. Regular life is totally unfamiliar territory to me. And Thich Nhat Hanh, a Vietnamese priest and peace activist, once said, "People have a hard time letting go of their suffering out of a fear of the unknown. They prefer suffering that is familiar." So if that's you, this is your wake-up call. Are you staying stuck in addiction, stuck wherever you're at with your suffering, but you'd rather have that suffering than letting go of it and returning to the unknown? I also hear guys say, I don't have any of that fear stuff. I just find recovery is boring. How do I get excited about something that's not fun? How do I trust going back into society again when I have fun in society when I have a few drinks? I have fun in society when I go to parties, go to clubs. I have fun in society when I'm using a little bit. I don't even know that I can find fun in society clean and sober. Anthony DeMello, the Indian priest and psychotherapist, said, "We do not have a fear of the unknown. What we fear is giving up the known." So my challenge here is, are you ready to give up your viewpoint of what's fun and realize that that was tainted by your times of finding fun in addiction, and challenge yourself to avoid that boring word and make your own fun. Find fun, clean and sober. There's millions and billions of people around the planet who do it every day. In closing, Yvon Chouinard, the founder of Patagonia, the outdoor products company, was asked about his fear of mountain climbing because he climbed those highest mountains all around the world. And they asked him, was he afraid of that? And he said, actually, fear of the unknown is the greatest fear of all. So as you think about this episode, I want you to ponder some of these quotes, ponder these things. And you might want to journal what fear of the unknown is keeping you stuck. What fear of the unknown is keeping you sort of paralyzed and frozen? And can you see that it's actually making your life stagnant? And you might be missing opportunities for growth because of this fear of the unknown. You might be blind to the reality or to truth because of fear of the unknown. And I want to close with an unknown quote, an anonymous quote, which is, everything you want is on the other side of fear. Thanks for listening to this episode of the A2D from Addict to Disciple podcast. If you were saying that's me as you listened, then it's time now to reach out and join a group. You can message me on the link in this podcast or by email at davidfroma2d@gmail.com, or go to my website, www.froma2d.org, and click on the contact page. Keep listening to future podcast episodes Tune in next week for part 2 of this topic of fear of the unknown. And as always, stay safe and stay resilient.